Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gambling and Rambling. This is week 10 of the NFL season. We're going to be going over our spread picks, but first, we'll do a little recap of week 9. Alex and I went 6-8. Corey was at the top, who went 7-7, and then Nick at the bottom going 5-9. So not a good week for Nick.
Brutal.
However, this week is the first week where we're going to really be doing our locks of the week, and we're going to put a lot more weight on the locks of the week because let's face it, it's very hard for anybody, even like professional handicappers, to get every game, have a over 50-60% win rate on that. It's near impossible. So the locks of the week are going to hold a lot more weight, but we'll get into the first game. We have the Ravens at the Dolphins, Thursday Night Football. The spread opened at 7. It is now at 7.5. We'll start with we'll go with Corey on this one. What do you think here?
Well, considering, I've been beating the drum that the Dolphins suck. They still suck. I know they got to win.
They covered last week, Corey.
I understand they covered last week.
1-2.
They did not look great. I know Jacoby Brissett was playing, and Tua was a last minute scratch.
They still covered without Tua.
I know. So I mean, the Texans are bad. Dolphins are bad. It wasn't like
Jacoby Brisket, though. He's something to watch out for. He might be stealing Tua's spot.
You see, you know what? I just don't think that's true. They paid him way too much money to be a terrible backup quarterback. The over-under is 46.5. I'm liking the over in this game, but for the spread itself, I'm be taking the Ravens minus 7.5. As much as that pains me, I'm not a fan of the Ravens, but the Dolphins suck, and Lamar and that team looked a little bit better last week. Actually, no, they didn't look good at all. They looked terrible against the Vikings, which was one of my picks last week. But Dolphins are still terrible. Brian Flores still doesn't know how to coach football. So give me the Ravens minus 7.5.
All right, Nick.
I think with any Thursday night game, you have to expect a snooze fest. And I think that's where the Ravens shine, is in the snooze fest type of games. They're, low pace, very slow team to watch, almost as bad as the Saints. But I like the Ravens this week. So going with the Ravens.
Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on board the Ravens. I think that Lamar is gonna have 2 touchdowns. I think Ravens are gonna win pretty big here. I don't think the Dolphins have any sort of offense that can keep up with a Ravens lead and that run offense that they got.
I don't understand how the Dolphins defense is so bad. They have so many playmakers, great cornerbacks that don't play well. So they need to figure out their scheme, because it's
played well last week.
Working. 1 week though. I mean, yeah.
I see. So this is gonna be, already starting off. I'm gonna be on the other side here. I'm taking Dolphins plus 7.5. We have them on a short week going to Miami, and they just played an overtime game, a very long game over the weekend. That game that was in Baltimore, right?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Well, so now they're going to Miami, and I just think on Thursday Night Football, playing away on these short weeks, I'd rather just take the points. I think this could just be one of those ugly Thursday night games that we always seem to see. And, we even saw Lamar make some mistakes against the Vikings through 2 picks. I could see the Dolphins just backdoor cover right here. This is a classic backdoor cover trap spot, in my opinion. I think this will be a heavily bet public Ravens side. And as we know, I do not like to be on that side. So
yeah, I mean, the Ravens, honestly, they should have lost last week. They had the first possession in overtime, turned the ball over, and then Vikings played, I don't know, like the worst offensive plays I've ever seen in an overtime game. They're just like, we don't know what to do. And they gave the ball right back to the Ravens. And the Ravens, I mean, obviously you have Justin Tucker, who's good from 75 plus. So
75 plus.
He's so good. He's so good.
I heard he hit a
PBT
120-yard field goal once.
PB, to your point too, right now the Ravens are getting 79% of the tickets and 98% of the money.
Well,
Again,
that
it's
actually,
early, but
well, usually if 70 something percent and 90% of the money is on a side, that means it's actually sharp money because just in relation to the percentage of the bets, that means there's more, even more sharp money coming in. So that actually makes me a little bit worried, but I still think that public side is going to increase as it gets closer to Thursday. And, if it was down to -7 or gets to 6.5, then I'd probably switch over to the Ravens side. But as long as it's going to be over 7, I'm going to be on the Dolphins side. So next game, we have the Saints at the Titans. It opened at what it looks like -2.5. It is now at -3.
I'd love to go first on this one, if you don't mind. I know.
You know what? You go
Saints
first. You go
Thank you.
first.
Appreciate that, Patrick. So I just want to say that the Saints are an absolute joke with Trevor Siemian. They have a hard time moving the ball with Jameis Winston.
They had a hard time moving the ball with Jameis Winston. Really, that's why they were averaging like 30 plus points a game.
Yeah, that's incorrect. I mean, you got to check your facts if you're going to come on the show with those facts.
It was 25 plus they were averaging with Jameis Winston. So that's
a big difference. That's a big difference.
25 points with
Jameis
Jameis Winston, just saying.
Touchdowns. Most of them coming from Alvin Kamara, who is a very important running back, but I digress on that front. I just don't think that the Saints are going to win very much. Like, they're not going to win any tough games with Trevor Siemian. As good as their coaching is.
What if Taysom Hill starts? Does that change your opinion?
I'm sure they'll mix him in a little bit. I mean,
no, if they say he's the starter from here on out, does it change your opinion?
I mean, innocent until proven guilty, I guess. But I still don't believe in Taysom Hill either.
Did he play last week? I didn't see that.
No, they really, really eased him back in. He didn't play much at all. I think his workload is going to increase gradually every week. And I'm guessing he'll eventually be announced as the starter. But the thing is, with the Saints this week, you can't fault Trevor Siemian. A lot of the Saints, it was all in the receivers last week. They had more drops than they had catches. Siemian didn't look that bad at all.
That's not going to change this week. They have no passing attack is the ultimate conclusion there. And I think, that's probably enough time on the Saints. We don't want to spend too much time on a dusty team, but we got to give the
Nick,
Titans
what's the Saints
props.
record and what's the Browns record? I'm just curious.
No. We got to give some props to the Titans. I think they have put it together. Obviously, an injury-ridden season from start to finish for them. That I don't even know if that three-headed monster ever played together. If they did, it was a short time, right? So no Derrick Henry, but I think Tannehill is legit. He's kind of that old veteran that brings some good experience to the table and gets it done with AJ Brown and Julio. So I think it'll be interesting to see Julio versus Lattimore. Hopefully we see a nice little.
You mean AJ Brown versus Lattimore?
We'll see who they put him against. I mean, you fade Julio, he's going to make you pay for that. So obviously you're taking Titans -3, based off everything you said. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to quickly counter that because I'm the Saints fan here. And one, if the Titans cover this, it will be, I think, because of Julio. They're not running against the Saints with Adrian Peterson and Deontay Foreman. And Lattimore should be on AJ Brown, I'd assume. I think that's who the Saints will determine as the alpha in that offense. And I think, we'll talk about DFS, but I think in tomorrow's show, but yeah, I think this is a game where they're going to probably have to feature Julio and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. I think that'll be their game plan. But I think the Saints can easily, especially at +3. I mean, they're going to cover this. Trevor Siemian, the Saints, I believe, have the least turnovers in the entire league throughout the year. And you can roast Winston all you want. Siemian hasn't turned the ball over. And they're not going to make mistakes. What it took for the Titans to win against the Rams, it was, Stafford just had a really, really bad game. We don't know who the starter is yet for the Saints. Could be Taysom, could be Trevor Siemian. It's not announced yet. But either way, I'm taking the Saints +3 here. This is going to be, again, I think a heavily bet Titans side. Everyone's been shocked by the Titans this year, beating so many good teams, but Saints are going to get the job done.
You know what? This is a game that I just wish both teams would lose, because I need the Titans to lose for my Colts so the Colts can catch them in the division, and just for my own sanity.
Take the Saints, Corey. We know you're taking them.
Because I can't stand Sunday afternoon getting text from PB of the Saints doing anything good, because it's just phones nonstop blowing up. I don't know. The Saints looked, competitive, but they were playing the Falcons, we talked about last week, they lost to the Panthers, and then they come back and they come into New Orleans, and like Saints have one of the better secondaries or defensive fronts, I should say, in the league. And, they weren't able to really get to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan threw for like almost 400 yards. I don't know. This game is, I don't want to bet this game, and I probably won't. But just for the fact that I'm a Colts fan,
there it is.
I have to.
Heard him to say so much.
I'm going to take the Saints.
Disappointing.
I don't think it's high. If I want, I don't know. I think it's high, but I think that just helps the Titans even more. So I'll take Saints +3, I guess.
The Titans have beat the Rams, the Chiefs, and the Bills in 3 out of their last 4 games.
No, I understand.
They're no joke.
No. I understand that, but the Titans offense didn't have to do anything last week against the Rams. So we're really not sure how they're going to.
That was the Titans beat the Rams only because the Rams beat themselves.
Yeah, the Rams beat. Yeah, so I'm not yet totally impressed with Ryan Tannehill. I don't know how well he'll. We saw him in Miami. He was. I know that's really Adam Gase's fault, and we've seen the track record with Adam Gase and Ryan Tannehill with the Saints, or with the Titans. 70% of their offense running through Derrick Henry. Last week that didn't come into effect because they didn't need him, because they scored defensive touchdown. They had short fields and they didn't need that. So I don't know. I still don't think the Titans without Derrick Henry are going to be a contender, just because I don't trust Ryan Tannehill. So we should probably give Alex a
microphone here.
Yeah.
No, that's all good. I'll keep it short here because I think you guys pretty much covered everything. But the Titans are 7-2 against the spread. I don't know that they necessarily win this game, but I could see it being closer than 3. Might be something where it's worth buying a half point. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with Titans -3. Just after that strong win against the Rams. No, a lot of it was their defense and Stafford not playing well, but I think that kind of a win in prime time propels them and keeps their steam rolling.
All right.
Question for you, Alex, before we move
What's
on.
up?
What inspired that beautiful mustache of yours?
It's Movember, man. That's a
what is it called?
All for the cause.
Movember.
Movember?
Yeah.
It's for testicular cancer, PB. Get with it.
Movember. You don't shave.
It's just a stash. Keep the
All
stash.
right. Well, I'll let this keep going then.
There you go.
Protect the nuts. Movember.
So you're not supposed to. Oh, I guess no shave. So that means nowhere. You're not shaving anywhere.
All right. Well, see, this is a show for children.
It's a PG podcast. PV.
This got a little off the rails.
We are now marking this episode as not okay for children.
Thanks a lot, PP.
This ain't that kind of show, I guess. All right. All right. Next game we have Bills at Jets. It opened at -14. I believe it's actually down to -12.5 now. I think that's right, because that's
Bills
-12.5.
Okay.
12.5 now.
So we'll start with. I'll go first this time. I'm just gonna keep this simple. I'm just Bills -12.5. I don't care what happened against the Jags. I think this should be probably, closer to, it should have stayed at 14 probably. The Jets are still one of the worst teams in the league. You know, the Bills don't have as bad of a defense as the Colts, so you're not gonna have to worry about any backdoor covers like what almost happened when the Colts played the Jets. But yeah, I think this is pretty straightforward. I like the Bills a lot. They're one of the best, they're probably top 3 team in the league. So I'll take them by less than 2 touchdowns against, I don't care whether it's Mike White or what, Josh Johnson. Yeah, give me.
Yeah.
This is like going to be a big bounce back spot for Josh Allen and that offense.
Yeah, I think it's a bounce back spot for sure. The Jets are the Jets.
Yep.
And I didn't watch the Bills game, but you know, we said or at least I said on last week's episode, I didn't think they were going to lay another stinker of a half. Turns out they did it the whole game. So not completely wrong there, but yeah, I just, you know, stick to the number 1 rule. Don't bet against the Bills. I think if you went the entire season betting their spread, you'd probably coming out on top.
Nick?
I think the Jets' backup quarterback is probably better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah,
Like you're saying, regardless of who they put out there, like I think they actually have some better options. So
think about it. The Bills defense is now who they're facing. They got away with playing the Colts defense. And what was the week before that? When he threw for the Bengals. So I guess the Bengals have a decent, but the Bills is easily the best one they've played.
No doubt. I just think, the Bills really struggled when they headed down south. They struggled with the 2 Florida teams they played. They lost to Tennessee the week before that. Seems like they're kind of in this mid-season sputter. And in that case, when they're not, I think 2 outcomes are probably most likely. You either get them in a nice bounce back game and they show us all like who they are again, or, they kind of just like struggle to put it together again, in which case it's a close game. And I like the 12.5 points, even though it is the Jets.
So which side are you taking?
It's hard to go against my commandments because they're commandments. I'm a man of religion, so we're going with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat with everyone else. I after watching, the Jets have a little bit better offense without Zach Wilson in, which is odd to say because Zach Wilson was supposed to be this prodigy child, and
Aaron Rodgers 2.0.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Who said that?
Yeah, who said that
in the pre-draft?
A lot of people they saw his combine.
They compared him to Mahomes and Rodgers because he
throws Dwayne Haskins 2.0.
This guy from the Mormon school of football quarterbacks. They thought he was going to be all this. He's not. Mike White actually was looking well in that first drive for the Jets. Again, I with where the Bills their season's trending. I'm surprised they tripped up and they actually lost last week, but there's no way they come out flat again and not put up points. So I will be taking the Bills as well at minus the 12.5.
If you look at the standings, there's like 8 or 9 teams in the AFC with 5 wins. I think like all the AFC North, there's another division I think out there that everyone has 5 wins. So I think what we're going to find this week is teams are, finding that they're playing for something again. They know it's going to be a tight playoff race across the board, really, which is actually kind of fun. Like we usually get a couple teams that, take an early lead and just kind of coast their way. But the Chiefs have lost themselves. They're not that team this year. Bills have dropped a couple easy ones. So, I think we find these dominant football teams are going to step it up this week, and hopefully we see a lot of chalk.
All right. Next game, we got Lions at Steelers. Steelers opened at 8.5. It went to 9 for a second, but I believe it might be down to 8 now. Plus 8. So we'll start with Alex.
Man, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think coming off the bye week, I think hungry dogs were faster, man. I think the Steelers, after a pretty bad Monday night game against the Bears, uh, I think hungry dogs run faster. I'm going to take the Lions and the points. I think they might even get their first win of the season here.
See, I like the hungry dogs run faster, but they are chasing a number 1 draft pick. So I'm going to go with the Steelers here because I think this just comes down to a coaching battle. Like you're saying, both kind of crappy teams. I'm taking Tomlin. Give me the Steelers minus 8.5.
Corey?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump back with Alex. I like the Lions here at plus 8.5. They've been competitive in some of these games. I know not all of them. They got blown out last time they were on the field against the Eagles, but I know they're on the road. They're not at home. I would like them more if they're at home, but I don't think the Steelers are anything that great. If the Lions don't cover here, it's because the Steelers defensive line gets to Jared Goff and makes him play like the Jared Goff we all know and love, who just throws the most egregious interceptions or just has the most strangest things happen to him, like a snap off his chest into a defender's arm. It's hard to go defeated in an NFL season. We've only seen it happen a couple of times. Lions were obviously one of them.
Browns, of course.
One of them. So I don't think it will happen again. And they may not win this game, but I do think they cover the 8.5, or I guess it's down to 8. I still like that. If it gets down any lower than that, then I'm probably going to switch off of that. But I like the Lions here, and I think they might be able to win this game somehow.
I'm on the Lions side as well. I don't think the Steelers team is anything great at all. Big Ben has not looked good at all this entire season. I think this could be a game where they lean on Najee heavily, and he has a pretty good matchup. But I just think coming off the bye with the Lions, like you said, it's very hard for a team not to win a game, and this is like one of the best spots they're going to have this year to pull off a win. I honestly like the money line a little bit as well, but I'm definitely going to be on the Lions plus 8 here. Plus 8.
Yeah, that's the money line. There's a little pizza money action that we call that. So
yeah,
$10-15 that money line, make it pay off. Also, Claypool did get banged up last night. I'm not sure what his status is going to be going into Sunday. So keep an eye on that as well, because then if that's the case, Deontay Johnson and then James Washington and then Ray McLeod will be their receiving weapons besides the tight end. So something to keep an eye on. Yeah,
so I like we all on the Lions side. I like that. Coming with the big underdog there. Well, except Nick. So hopefully you're not on.
We'll see. Time will tell.
Next game, we have the Jaguars at the Colts. Opened at -10, and I actually think it's still at -10. So Corey, Colts fan.
Dominating win last week. The Colts, their defense is still it's in shambles at this moment, with their secondary just completely decimated with injuries. They're throwing out players who they picked off the street a couple weeks ago, just learning the defense. But the offense looked great against, I know it's the Jaguars, but everyone was
the Jets. You mean when they played the Jets?
Yeah, sorry, the Jets. They're hitting on all cylinders. Offensive line is fully healthy, looking great, moving the ball, running the ball at will. We have the rushing leader, probably gonna be the rushing leader by the end of the year, in Jonathan Taylor.
And that dude is a beast.
He's insane.
He's so good.
Who he reminds me of? He reminds me of early Lev Bell, who would be super patient in the backfield, and as soon as that hole opened up, he would make that one cut and he just goes. And he's very, very good at playing football. So,
he's very good at the football.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take, obviously, Colts fan. This is a must win for us. And I think the Colts cover here at -10.5. Jaguars, they got an ugly win. Their offense didn't do anything. I know it's the Bills, and the Colts have a terrible or not that great of a defense, but this is in Indy. Urban Meyer still the head coach. He still sucks at coaching. So give me Colts -10.5.
Nick.
Yeah, lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. Jags ain't winning. Colts moving on.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, 60% of the tickets, 97% of the money on the Colts right now. Colts -10. I think they're going to start putting together a group of wins, a handful of wins here. I think the Colts are probably going to make the playoffs here too. But I think they keep beating bad teams, and I think the 10 is good here.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the Colts side as well. I think that this line would have been closer to 2 touchdowns if the Bills just don't look bad. Like, it was just the Bills offense just couldn't pull it together. It wasn't like the Jags really, they had a few, what is it? Josh Allen, the defensive player, Josh Allen looked really good. But yeah, I don't see that happening again. This Jaguars team is still arguable, bottom 3 team in the league, and Colts at home, like we said, must win for them. At especially -10, you don't even have to go to 10.5. Like, you could push at -10. I'm definitely taking that. So
yeah, last week was pretty cool for Josh Allen. He made history in the NFL.
Yeah.
It was the first time a player sacked another player with the same name. So Josh Allen on Josh Allen sandwich.
But he didn't just do that. He had like an interception. He had a fumble recovery. It was a
he was pumped up. He knows he's headed to Canton now. First player to sack someone with their own name. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He was pumped up and ready to go.
Yeah, the jersey's definitely going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Colts should roll here. Next game, we have the Bucks off a bye at the Washington football team off a bye. It opened, I actually think it was at like the early line, because I remember talking about this in the group chat. It was like a week before they played. It was like 7.5, I think. And now it's up to, it went to 9.5. What is it, at 8 now?
It's still at 9.5.
Still
on FanDuel, it's at 9.5.
Yeah, FanDuel's 9.5.
Okay. It's 9.5 still. So it's some Bucks money has come in. So now it is up to 9.5. Alex, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, Washington football team 1-7 against the spread. Brady off of a bye week, I think, is just kind of unfair, especially against a really bad team. I'm gonna take Bucks -9.5, and I think they win by 2 touchdowns, no problem.
Yeah, I'm glad we're past the Bucks bye week now, because Sunday without Tom Brady is a lonely one. The father of football is coming back, defying Father Time. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Father Time.
Father Time. Yeah. Buccaneers are going to win this one.
Okay, but are they covering?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Washington football team, I think they have an awesome D-line. I'll give them that. I think Chase Young's awesome. They need a couple more years before they're really competing significantly. So that's all right. Give them the loss. Let them get some better draft picks, and we'll move on with our day.
Corey?
Yeah, I'm on with everyone else. Bucks -9.5. I think the Bucks are, one of the top 3 teams in the NFC right now. I know that their secondary is bad, and maybe this bye week they help them fix that, or help plug some holes in that sinking ship of the secondary. But it's Tom Brady. It's the Washington football team. Their secondary is worse than the Bucks. Godwin, Evans. If Brown plays, I'm not sure if he's playing yet, but it doesn't matter.
Probably not. No.
Okay, so he's not. But it doesn't matter. Like I said, Tom Brady's probably going to throw for like 450 yards and like 4 touchdowns. So give me Bucks.
All right. Well, I will be the only one on the opposite side of this one. I will be taking.
Before you go into your analysis here, you just can't pick Tom Brady, can you? You can't.
I've taken him in a spot before.
You can't. It hurts your insides to say anything good about the Bucks, because they're in the same division as the Saints, and it just irks you inside, just deep down. You just can't say it.
Okay, you act like you were any different, because you definitely didn't want to take the Saints, and you took them in the spread, and it's because it's hard for you to take the people in your division. But I'm not biased. Like I will give you reasons why. I will give
Okay,
you
let's
reasons
do it.
why.
Okay.
And you'll see, I won't be biased because in tomorrow's show, I'll talk about Tom Brady as a DFS play, which I rarely do, and we'll talk about it. But in regards to the spread, I will be taking the Washington football team here at 9.5. It's not if the Bucks were coming off the bye and Washington wasn't at this spot, I'd probably take Tampa. But with Washington coming off the bye as well, what have we seen that Tom Brady struggles with the most? It's when defenses get pressure on him. That's what happened with the Saints, and that's why he looked like shit against the Saints. And that's what's going to happen, I think, against the Washington football team. And what we saw in the playoffs last year when they had when their defense was very good, Heineke almost beat them.
Yeah.
So
Did we just get on record you saying that Tom Brady is not good under pressure, but he has 7 Super Bowl rings?
No, I'm talking this season. That's what he struggled with. I've already said the Tom Brady of the past, in my opinion, is great. He's the greatest of all time. I'm talking in the last several years. What is that noise?
Several years.
Okay, I'm saying I don't care that he won a Super Bowl last year. To me, that was on the back of his defense. I don't care what credibility you think I'm losing. He looked terrible in a lot of games in the playoff last year and got bailed out by the defense. This Washington football team gets pressure, and that's what Tom Brady struggles against. And I think, he could probably throw a pick again, have a couple turnovers. Not sure how. I think at minimum we see the Washington football team backdoor cover this at plus 9.5.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Interview, but I feel like we just had a moment where, they're doing an interview with Eminem and he announces that he's gay. We just had a similar moment with you saying that Tom Brady's not good under pressure.
He's not. That's what he struggled with. Why do you think he had to go to
D-line has not been good this year.
No, the Washington D-line, it's not been like as good as everyone thought it could be. It's still their strongest point of their defense. It's their secondary that's
saying a lot.
Bad. But
that's really weak. Yeah, that's not saying a lot just because the D-line is the better half. It's still a kind of a dismal defense. Let's be honest.
But if you act like Taylor Heineke, once again, same matchup last year, Bucks had a better defense, and Heineke almost won. So it is a worse.
That was that's kind of like the Mike White situation though, where it's like comes in, no one knows anything about this guy,
and
has the game of his
Washington.
life.
It's a home game again, so I think this will be a heavily public Bucks side in my opinion, and I'm gonna not be on the public side. So
all right,
fade the public.
Moving on.
Browns at Patriots. It's what do we have? It was open at -3, but with this Chubb COVID news, it's now down to -1.5. Nick, Browns fan, go for it.
Yeah, I'm not excited to play Matthew Judon again. I think he's an incredible football player. He always seems to find the ball. He's just got a knack for it. It's probably why he's playing in the NFL, right? But I'm excited to watch this Browns team again. I think, we got through last week and all the Odell drama.
I told you getting rid of him was going to help.
It certainly did. I'm not going to argue that at all. It's a disappointment. We couldn't make that talent, help and optimize our team, but that's how the way the world is, right? It sometimes doesn't work out perfectly. So he's gone. We're focused. We're locked in. We're playing like a team again. I think we're going to be hard to stop here. So give me the Browns.
All right. Alex?
Yeah, I was at the Browns Bengals game this week, and that was not the outcome I expected. The Browns looked really good. That defense was giving Joe Burrow problems that entire game. I think you've got a young quarterback here coming in with Mac Jones. I do like the Patriots here, but I think if I'm getting points with the Browns, I'm going to take the points after a week like they just had. So I'm going to go Browns plus 1.5 here.
It's so enjoyable watching a healthy Browns defense. We're still missing that stud rookie linebacker from Notre Dame, Joke, but I think Del Pitt's coming into his own, and Denzel Ward, I don't understand why he's not being talked about on the same level as Jalen Ramsey. He is incredible. Like he makes plays every year that I just drops my jaw.
That house call was awesome. That pick six he had to start it off.
Yeah. Remember last year when he like slid under a Cincinnati defender to like make a tackle?
No, nobody remembers that.
Everyone remembers that.
No, you remember it. That's it.
That was the play of the year. All right.
Okay.
This is
just
they don't get.
You can tell that Nick only watches like Browns games. Like he just doesn't even know. Like
I watch all football, but I study Browns film.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying out for their scouting position next year, so we'll see what happens.
I'm going to jump on the Browns.
Send the Browns right back to their defeated years.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, see about that, PB. Slow your roll. Yeah, I'm taking Brownies plus money here. I don't think I know the Patriots are playing better. They still have a rookie quarterback, and like Nick touched on, Alex touched on, the defensive line for the Browns is probably arguably one of the best in football. They have, maybe arguably the best defensive line or defensive player on the line with Myles Garrett. And I just think Mac Jones, he does enough to keep the game competitive, and he's a game manager. And I think that this is a game where if the Browns get ahead and they make the Patriots throw the ball and get out of their run heavy offense, which they like to run, I think the Browns, have the pieces in place to blanket the Patriots receiving core, who's not that good. And they win the game. Chubb out with COVID doesn't help them. He is vaccinated, so he still has a possibility to play this week. He just has to, have 2 negative tests 24 hours before the game. I don't know what his symptoms are. I mean, because that news just came out today. But we'll see throughout the week and see how this line moves because of him being out. Because obviously he's a big part of their offense. But give me Browns.
Well, I misspoke earlier because I said it opened at -3 and it went to -1.5 because of the Chubb news, but it would have gone the other way if that matters.
So running backs matter by 2 points then.
No. That means
a quantifiable.
It moved in favor of the Patriots. So explain why. So Chubb being out helps the Patriots?
Because it's going to be a little bit more reliance on Baker. So I think that's really what the public thinks.
Because running backs don't matter. So that gets to my point. And that's
okay. I'll let you have this one as long as you agree that Baker's going to have more action and people like it.
Well, yeah.
He's feeling dangerous. Watch out.
So it's at -2 Patriots right now, but I'm going to take the Browns. The Patriots have looked pretty good, and I do think that their game plan would have just been to take Chubb out if he played. Now with like Dearness Johnson in there, I think that the Patriots don't really know what to like game plan for, because usually that's what Belichick likes to do. He likes to remove like your biggest weapon, and with Chubb being out, I don't think Belichick knows what to take out. So I think you're going to see like a balanced defense this week actually from the Patriots. And I think Baker and Landry are going to have a good game here. I think that's where they're going to beat the Patriots this week. And going from Chubb to Dearness Johnson doesn't matter that much, as we all know.
Can't wait to talk about Donovan Peoples-Jones tomorrow.
Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think
DPJ on the come.
I've been waiting since Sunday. I'm like, I can't wait for the podcast. DPJ is such a lock.
That's your DFL. Oh, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Sneak peek.
Yeah. Okay. DPJ. All right. Next game we have Falcons at Cowboys. It is at Cowboys. What is it? -9.5 or 8.5?
Can we talk about what happened to them last week? What was that? Off of a bye week, right?
Yeah. The thing is, actually, the bye weeks, I've come to like realize like sometimes the bye weeks aren't actually like beneficial. Like if you aren't like a very, very disciplined team, because the bye weeks, people go home, maybe they just kind of eat a little unhealthier. Like they don't. Sometimes it actually hurts teams. they come out of the
I see what
bye,
you're
they're a
saying.
little rusty, and
Mhm.
it doesn't work. So
Well-
that's I could see that being what happened to the Cowboys that last week.
But the Cowboys needed that bye week because Dak Prescott
Dak
wasn't
was-
healthy. He
Yeah.
was still lingering from the injury, which could have played in part of why they looked really bad against a Denver Broncos team who just gave up one of their better players, and this past week trading him to the Rams and
Von Miller.
Von Miller. Sorry. So I don't think this was. I mean, the Cowboys have a great offense and the weapons are there. But I think, I don't know, it's hard. Again, we talked about last week to go undefeated against the spread. That's why Pee Wee and I were both on the Broncos at that plus money at 9. And here we sit again, looking at the Cowboys who just got absolutely obliterated at home. And the line opened up at 9.5 after last week's, utter failure by them. I mean, they didn't score any points till the fourth quarter when the Broncos weren't trying anymore. And now Matt Ryan, who's a better quarterback than Teddy Bridgewater, they have better, maybe not better weapons than the Broncos, but they do in fact have weapons that can put this Cowboys defense, who I believe is very overrated. They make plays, but they give up points, they give up yards. So I'm going back to the well. I'm betting against the Cowboys again this week. Give me Falcons +9.
So Corey, you're betting with the public here. Right now, Falcons getting 58% of the tickets, 42% of the money.
Yeah, that's the public side.
Right.
I think I'm going Dallas money line, but 9.5.
Dallas money line. What is this?
Yeah,
You're laying
You're gonna
400 to win 100.
Yeah.
25% is a great year in the stock market. I mean, I don't know why we're all batting eyes at that.
It's just
Because they
heavy
play the
money line
Broncos.
favorites are not profitable long term in the NFL, Nick. That's why. So you for in order for a bet like that to be profitable, that means Cowboys play the Falcons 5 times, and you would have to win all 5 times to be profitable. If the Falcons win 1 time, you break even.
Well, it's a good thing they're only playing 1 game, PB. I think it's
Yeah,
an
but you
opportunity
can't
to just
think like
hammer
that.
the
This
money
could be
line.
okay. You bet the money line then.
Okay.
I will. I'll send you a screenshot.
I mean, I like the Cowboys this week, but it's not the money line.
Yeah.
I like the 9.5 or the 8.5. Yeah, 8.5. I like getting really good teams. Like that's why I'm on the Bills on like bounce back spots. Like after they kind of got reminded, like, this is the NFL, like any team can beat you. Like them kind of just like straightening up, locking down, and coming in and beating this bad Falcons team. The Falcons do have a corner that is starting to get talked about a lot more, and that's AJ Terrell. He's one of the best corners in the league. So, I'm assuming that's going to be Amari Cooper on him. So this could be just a really big CeeDee Lamb. Michael Gallup is returning this week. I think that's bigger than people think.
Might be.
I'm hearing he is, and I think that's a big boost for that. It helps. Like, what is it? Cedric Wilson is he's been pretty solid in his place, but Gallup just opens a whole other dimension to this offense. And I think the Cowboys can smack the Falcons here. And so, yeah, I'm going to be on the Cowboys minus 8.5. I think this is, as long as Zeke's healthy, which I think he is because he returned. I think this is a nice bounce back game for Zeke as well.
I think this is too many points. The over-under's set at 55. So to still have almost a 10-point spread there seems like way too much. Corey, you kind of convinced me. I was coming in here thinking I was going to go Cowboys for sure, but I think it's the line's at 9 on FanDuel, which, I mean, that half point doesn't make a huge difference here. And I think, like we were talking about last week, the Cowboys that against the spread record returning a little bit to the mean. I'm going to go with Falcons +9 here.
All right. And did Nick talk here? I think he did. The
Nick,
Cowboys, right?
he's taking Cowboys.
Okay.
The boys.
All right.
I said Cowboys money line, but
Yeah, but on the spread, you're on the Cowboys, right?
Yeah.
money line.
That's not how we make picks on the
You
show.
can't just do that.
Just
It-
pick.
It's either the Falcons or the Cowboys, Nick. Say it right here.
Cowboys.
Okay, there we go.
Not money line though.
Not the spread. All right, next game. We're going into the afternoon games. We have the Panthers at the Cardinals. It is at -10.
Can we get an injury update here, Adam Schefter, on what's up with DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray before we dive into this one?
I mean, I think it's just a little unknown right now. Like
Oh, still questionable.
yeah, like he's still dealing with the ankle thing, and it's questionable. It depends on how he feels throughout the week, and same with Hopkins. It's just
Or what are we dealing with here? A high ankle sprain, just your basic backyard basketball ankle
I think
sprain?
with Kyler, it's just more of an ankle sprain, and Hopkins is his hammy.
Is that hammy? Yeah, which is just great.
That's
for
going to
the
affect his
receiver.
route running for sure.
And then Chase Edmonds is obviously out now. So
I mean, James Conner can clearly hold his own. I mean, he was great on the,
classic case
on the
of
Steelers. but-
running backs don't matter. Just rolls the 49ers defense.
Mhm.
So
I don't know. I mean, I'll leave it to Corey to see. He's the glass ankles man of the group. So whatever he's feeling as far as injuries for that sort of ankle recovery, I'll probably lean one way or another based on his analysis there.
Well, yes, this is very true. I do have the glass ankle. But I'm actually liking this line where it's at because I know the Cardinals came out and blew up, absolutely blew up the 49ers. 49ers are not a good team. That's what we learned last week. They lost to Colt McCoy and James Conner. Literally, there was only two people who touched the ball for the Cardinals, and they routed the 49ers, which I don't know what happened. Very odd to see the 49ers just fold like that.
That was weird.
Sam Darnold being out is probably the greatest thing that ever happened to the Panthers because they saw in the first three games, like if he would have kept winning games, they would have they probably would have signed him again to an extension throughout the year into the next years as their star quarterback. He's terrible. He's so bad. It wasn't just
not good.
It wasn't Adam Gase. He makes terrible decisions. He can't read defenses. I've learned that, that meme of him saying, "I see ghosts." Like he still is seeing ghosts.
They never left.
Not good.
Nick, I thought the Panthers were going to make the playoffs.
The
tides have
Panthers,
turned very hard.
They're still at like what, they're 4-5, so they're not totally out of the playoff hunt yet.
They're out of it. They're out of it.
I'm telling you right now, PJ
McCaffrey's
Walker.
In the graphic, they're still in the hunt.
Yeah, they're still in the hunt. They're still there.
Technically still in the hunt.
I'm telling you, if PJ Walker is given the chance to start and has a full week of practice and starting reps, I'm liking, the Panthers here. I'm taking Panthers +10 here and PJ Walker to have a good game. And actually, you know what? I can even see maybe the Panthers winning this game.
Okay.
Before I dive into my pick, are you going to be buying any PJ Walker rookie cards?
Yeah, you know what? This is the time to get them. They're probably like what, 5 cents.
I got my hands on a PJ Walker XFL card.
Hey,
It's a true throwback.
I know we talked about last week and he didn't get his opportunity, but I fully trust Andrew Luck's opinion. Andrew Luck liked this guy. He sees a good quarterback. I'm taking PJ Walker in the Panthers.
Andrew Luck said PJ Walker was a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's how he got into the XFL because Andrew Luck's dad was the commissioner. He's like, you need to give this guy a job. And he's like, all right. And PJ Walker
Fucking killed it, right?
Yeah.
Killed it
He's
in XFL.
Yeah. So that's my pick.
Alex, there is a 2020 XFL PJ Walker card going for $800 right now on eBay.
Yeah,
I think
my card.
you got
That's my
yourself a
card.
gold mine.
Yeah, that's my card listed for sale.
Oh gosh. All right, I know what I'm getting Corey for Christmas. I'm excited to see CMC back healthy. He's just a fun football player to watch. So I'm going to take the Panthers here.
Alex.
I think I think the Cardinals defense is significantly better than the Patriots, just in terms of like skill players. Obviously, Belichick is one of a kind on the defensive scheme side of things, but I think the Cardinals defense is better, and the Panthers put up 6 points on the Pats. I think the Cardinals cover this 10 points, and I don't think it's close.
I'm gonna be on the side of Corey and Nick here. I do like the Panthers, even though, like I said, like I don't think they have a shot in making the playoffs here. They'll lose this game, but I just think like PJ Walker to Sam Darnold, like we said, it's not. I mean, it honestly, like you said, could be an upgrade. Sam Darnold just, man, he started out, there's some promise, and then it went downhill very, very quickly. We don't know at this point if Kyler plays, if Hopkins plays. So I think this line, obviously if they miss, this would change drastically. And I think that factoring that in, I honestly feel like this -10 is factoring Kyler playing.
Yeah.
So I think that getting this, and then Kyler could be ruled out another week because they know they're probably in the playoffs and they need to make a playoff run and just get him healthier. Same with Hopkins. They're not going to want to risk
especially after last week too, after what they just did to the 49ers.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be like, well,
this week, why not give those guys an extra week? We're probably fine.
Yes. So I'm going to take the Panthers here. I think the Panthers still, their defense, I still believe, because the Patriots scored points, but they might have had 2 defensive touchdowns. I know they had at least 1, but a lot of their points came from their defense playing well. It wasn't the Patriots offense rolling by any means. I think especially if it's Colt McCoy playing,
This is the line you take it now.
You take it now for sure. You don't wait on news for this one. You bet the Panthers now.
Yep.
All right. Next game, we have the Vikings at Chargers. I actually like this game quite a bit. It probably would be my lock if another team that we'll talk about in a little bit wasn't on the slate. But it's Chargers -2.5. They're at home. We'll start with Nick on this one.
I'm going to need some time to think about this one. I mean,
Okay.
I think I really do like the Chargers, but I think the Vikings always keep it close. You know what? Who am I kidding? Let's go Chargers.
Your analysis is just great.
Just
Who am I kidding? Chargers.
This wouldn't be an episode if we didn't have a flip flop from Nick. So
just like talking about but they keep it close. Who am I kidding? Taking the Chargers. What? That's your analysis.
All right. Let me take over because
go with your gut, PB.
I
why the Chargers?
I have a bone to pick with the Vikings, and that offensive 3 plays they had in overtime that cost me $460 in my underdogs parlay. It was
How did you lose that much?
No. It was a $10 bet to win 460. I had Giants money line, I had Falcons money line, I had Vikings money line, and I had what was the other underdog that won early game?
Falcons.
I had Falcons, Giants.
Just say another underdog.
Saints.
You can't remember.
Not Saints, Falcons. But regardless of the fact, the Vikings looked good in that first half of that game. They dominated. They made the Ravens look bad. I'm going to go back to the well here. I'm taking Vikings +2.5. I'm also going to be taking Vikings money line as well. I think that they have the offensive weapons. Their defense is the issue, but they have the offensive weapons. They have Dalvin Cook. And the other Chargers are not good against the run. So give me the Vikings.
Alex?
Yeah, this is a huge Dalvin Cook spot. 2 touchdowns. I'll probably be putting some money on that. I think he's going for over 100 yards here too. I think after that letdown in overtime, it did really look like their offense finally started clicking after a couple of really pretty bad weeks, pretty bad showings. So I think they keep it rolling here, and I'll take some points. I'll take the 2.5 Vikings.
The other team that parlay was the Browns, by the way. Just looked it up.
Good for you, Corey.
All right. Well, if there's, like I said, we'll talk about a game in a little bit. This would have been one of my favorites. I love the Chargers -2.5 here. I think this is like we've talked about the last couple of weeks. Like I actually had, even though the Eagles didn't win against the Chargers, they kept it close, which I thought they would do. They just couldn't quite get it done. I thought they had a pretty solid matchup against the Chargers. This week, the Vikings, I don't think match up well at all against this Chargers team. I think the Chargers offense matches up very well with the Vikings. The Vikings usually have to get it going in the passing game with Jefferson and Thielen, and the Chargers won't give that up at all. If the Vikings keep this close, it will be on the back of Dalvin Cook. We'll get in DFS like I said tomorrow. And yeah, I agree that Dalvin Cook could have a big game here. And I think he has to even keep this close. That's where the Chargers are going to be the weakest. But I think this could be a really big Keenan Allen, big Mike Williams bounce back spot here. I think just Justin Herbert could have a really good game. I at less than a field goal at home, I really, really like the Chargers.
Feels like he hasn't put up a big game in a while.
He threw for 350 and 2, and I think he might have had a rushing touchdown against the Eagles.
From Austin Eckler.
And the Eagles have a pretty like stingy secondary, like that for all season they've kind of been pretty good, and Justin Herbert looked great against them. And now going against this Vikings team, who their defense, their secondary is, I mean, I absolutely love the Chargers at -2.5. I will be betting this one for sure.
All right.
Next game we have Seahawks at Packers. A little bit of unknowns in this game with the quarterbacks. Rodgers, he gets tested Saturday, and if he's negative, he should be back. Otherwise, it's going to be Jordan Love again, and it seems like Russell Wilson will, in fact, be back. The doctor has cleared him. Then we have Packers at -3.5.
Yeah,
I think we might get an OBJ sighting here too.
No.
You think you'd play that first?
I don't think he's going to play, but I think he'll be there with the team.
Okay.
Who do you think he's signed with?
We'll see if he tries to come in as do the whole team player skit till he gets 3 catches one game, and then
who do you think he's signing with?
I think OBJ.
I think one of those two
Packers.
teams. Yeah, I think the Packers make the most sense.
That's where he said he wants to go as well. It makes a lot of sense.
We saw everything that happened at the beginning of the year with Aaron Rodgers. They finally have a great opportunity to just be like, you won, Aaron. Like, here's your shiny new toy.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't take it, him and Devontae, you could kiss them both goodbye. So like, Packers have a big decision to make here, I think.
Yeah, I think if Odell wants to go there, it all comes down to as long as Rodgers is wanting him as well. Like if Rodgers is like, no, you're washed, then he's not coming. But as long
was he banking on Randall Cobb for the rest of the year?
That's what I'm saying. It's not like they have a better backup. So I'm assuming Rodgers will be very welcoming to Odell.
Yeah, I
think Odell will jump at that.
I think Rodgers is the only quarterback that can also keep him. He started his career with Eli, and he really didn't have an attitude there until the end when Eli was, kind of on his way out, and he realized that he was a superstar in New York. So his ego got in the way, and then he goes to the Browns, and, we really didn't hear from him that much, but we see it exactly how it ended in New York, how it ended in Cleveland. It all comes down to his ego and him just being, upset about him not getting the ball or him not being catch the ball. I don't know which one it is, but if he goes to Green Bay, he cannot act that way because Aaron Rodgers is literally the mayor of Green Bay, and be like, dude, you are going to follow my regiment. You're not going to, bitch and moan about not getting the ball. I'm going to throw the ball who's ever open. And so I do think he will end up in.
Odell will probably respect Rodgers more than Baker too.
That too.
He also wasn't causing a ton of ruckus until this last year or so after that injury.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, it makes the most sense. It makes zero sense for him to go to Seattle. He's like, I want to go to contender. I mean, the Seahawks with Russell Wilson coming back, I think Russ is going to be a little, rusty. Plus, their offensive line is still the same offensive line. It's not good.
What about all those pregame, snaps and reps he was taking? You think he's still going to be rusty?
You know what? I didn't even put that into my calculations. Should have added that in. The fake huddle to the fake pass to him running and catching the fake pass. But give me if Rodgers is playing, he's pissed. I mean, you saw exactly what happened this past week. Everyone coming after him, and the woke crowd trying to take him out. But he's Aaron Rodgers. He's great. They're 8-1 against the spread. Their defense looked amazing last week against Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Looked really good.
Give me Packers at home -3.5.
Yeah, Rodgers is about to find himself a seat right next to Dr. Seuss. That guy's going to get canceled.
Oh, jeez.
I'm also going to jump on Packers -3.5. I think if you can get, just like, what was it, 2 weeks ago when Devontae and Lazard were out, who'd they play and beat? Cardinals, right? Yeah, Cardinals undefeated going in there. It's just Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers. And if you can get, pissed off, scorched earth Aaron Rodgers for less than a touchdown, I'm booking that shit. I'm putting the fucking house on that.
Yeah.
Seahawks defense is so bad too.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I wish they were better, because then Seahawks would actually compete and be like a, Super Bowl contender, but they're never going anywhere with that defense. So it's always going to be their kryptonite till they figure that out.
Nick,
Give me the Packers.
Packers?
Yeah, I like the Packers a lot this week.
I'm going to be on the Seahawks side here at 3.5. It's still Russell Wilson, and with Rodgers, as beyond the COVID stuff with the politics behind it, the actual him having COVID, being sick from that can have somewhat of an impact. And he's
he had Dr. Joe Rogan on his side though.
He also said he had one bad night and that was it. He said he's felt fine. He said he could have played last week. So I trust his word. I don't think he would just make that up just to make it up. I think he's fine.
I mean, you don't always show your cards though as a player. I feel terrible. And he also is trying to play, and so he's gonna talk it up that he feels better than maybe he actually is. I think it probably just slow. He's still probably gonna be fine, but if it just slows him down just a little bit. And again, Russell Wilson is gonna be playing. It's not like it's Geno Smith again. You're gonna have Russell Wilson. I think Chris Carson might even return this game. They mentioned that, and then you still have DK Metcalf and Lockett. It's just as bad as the Seahawks defense is. The Packers defense isn't much better. It's still very bad.
Plus,
I like the over. I think the over is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
So
50 right now.
If I can get Russell
50?
Wilson,
Yeah, that's low.
I'm not a fan of. I think there's two with because again, Rodgers, okay, I like just with the Cardinals game where I like the Panthers, there's still Russ is coming back. Rodgers still has to test negative. This spread would be the Seahawks minus something if Rodgers somehow can't come back. So you're getting a little edge, I think, on the Seahawks side of this as well, because you're getting the points with Russell Wilson and you have a possibility Rodgers, even though it might be 5% that he misses, that's still a nice little edge, I think.
All right.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next game, we have Eagles at Broncos. Opened at -1.5. I think it's up to -3 for the Broncos. We'll start with Alex on this one.
Yeah, this is my Dust Bowl of the week. I hate this game. I don't plan on watching any bit of this game unless Red Zone throws it up, which I don't see happening because I think the over under at 44 is way too high. I don't know what I even want to do here. I think I'll take the Broncos -3 just because I don't think the Eagles are as good as they've played their last two games, one being against the Lions. So I'll go Broncos here -3.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Alex. I don't think this is going to be a very competitive game. We saw what the Broncos did last week. Teddy Two Gloves coming out covering. They're at home this week. Eagles, they look to be kind of putting things together late. These last couple games. I know one was against the defeated Lions, but last week against the Chargers, we talked about it again like a couple weeks ago, how the Chargers were, through the first 4 games, this, the powerhouse of the AFC, and they kept it in check with the Chargers till late. And I think that comes down to, Jalen Hurts.
They matched up well with the Chargers. That's why I like the Eagles.
But Jalen Hurts, I think he's getting, more comfortable by each week. So I'm just going to take points here at +3 Eagles.
PB loves that pick.
Yeah, no, I'm with Alex on the -3 Broncos. Broncos, I think they have like one of the best home field advantages with just the altitude. I know that's usually baked into the line already. But the Eagles, like I said, I thought they matched up well against the Chargers last week. I don't think they match up well against the Broncos. I was saying it all year, the Broncos defense is very, very underrated, even with Von Miller being shipped out, Bradley Chubb not in. They've had some injuries. Like, they still kind of dominated the Cowboys, and they've been holding most teams to, like, I don't know, we would have to look it up, but they probably are top 5 or top 3 in like points allowed against like their team. They're a solid defense. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, and I think they'll win this by could win this between like 4 or 7 points. And I think definitely by at least a field goal. So
speaking of quarterbacks you think are bad, did Justin Fields earn any respect from you after Monday night?
I mean, it was probably the best game he's played, and he still lost. The only reason he even stayed in it was that Bears defensive touchdown and late in the game.
And the refs.
Okay, I will give him that the ref, that was terrible. That was very, very bad. But like Justin Fields, 1 touchdown, another interception. He's still so far from out of all the starting quarterbacks this year, it's a battle between him and Zach Wilson for who's performed the worst. There's what quarterback can you name that's performed worse than Justin Fields?
Trevor Siemian.
Darnold.
Not even Darnold has had better games than there's no Darnold. I can name like 3 games that he's had a better game than Justin Fields. There's I'm serious. There's no quarterbacks that you can say that have been worse than Zach
I'd still rather have Justin Fields than Sam Darnold and Trevor Siemian.
All right, so we're going to take to the stat sheet on this one. We're looking at the QBR. So that's a cumulative score for a quarterback to kind of.
There's a lot of factors. You don't just
metrics,
look at
right?
one metric.
Right. So a lot goes into this, and it's kind of like your QB grading. Right now, the 33rd quarterback is Justin Fields at 27. Zach Wilson, Jared Goff, Davis Mills, Darnold, all above him.
There you go.
Okay, but if Zach Wilson had played another, what does he now miss 3?
I'm saying
that's going to be an average there, Alex. Hate to break it to you.
Okay, to be fair though, the opponents the Bears have played have been a little bit tougher.
Why are we talking about this clown Justin Fields?
Well, I was just trying to help out
Alex.
I know you're a Bears fan.
I am.
I think Justin Fields is better than that. Yeah, he's better than his numbers, but we're going to move back into our slate picks.
Eagles and Broncos.
Eagles, Broncos. Eagles have kind of put it together. They're winning some games. They're looking good. Broncos, also kind of in the same boat. I kind of like the home field advantage, like PB was saying. So for this one, I'm going to take a +7.5 alternate spread on the Eagles.
What? What did you say?
I know you're
Alternate
just
spread plus
Nick.
7.5 Eagles.
What pick? Is it -3 Broncos or is it +3 Eagles? Make
You're
the
the
damn
worst,
pick.
dude.
Stop with this. All right, we're just gonna give it. You know what?
I'm here.
I'll take Bills +40. That's my pick. That's my lock. of the
That-
week.
You can't get that on your sports book, I guarantee
Okay,
it.
I'll find something.
Talk about bad odds. That thing is
No,
not good
come
for
on
me.
now.
All right, it's only -235. Take it for what you will.
What is
I'm here
your
to make
pick?
the
Bills
audience money.
-3 or Broncos -3 or Eagles +3?
I'm here to make our audience money.
Nope.
Plus 7.5 Eagles. Thank me later, and I'll take the Eagles regardless.
Okay.
Eagles
+3, plus 7.5, whatever you want. It's going to be
Pretty much the same odds. It's the same odds.
Pretty much, yeah.
All
Give
right.
yourself some points.
All right. Next game, we have the Sunday night football game, the Chiefs at the Raiders. It is
Puke.
at Chiefs -2.5. Nick, we know how much you love the Chiefs. Explain why you're taking them this week.
You know, it was finally a relief to just, tune into Sports Center Monday morning and hear the Chiefs getting trashed, because I've been saying it for weeks. They are a broken team. They're trying to be different than who they've been and who they've been successful with. That's a sign of a poor leader. Andy Reid's been eating way too many cheeseburgers. That trans fat's getting to his head. He can't put the football games together. Mahomes is second guessing himself. They have, they're no run game. They're a dismal mess right now. It's great to see. I love to see it. But I think the Raiders are equally as a shit show right now. I mean, they've had their issues. We don't need to recap what's been going on in that franchise, but it's been a tough year. They started really well. They were playing like a really good football team off the bat. But honestly, I'm scared to bet with them right now until they show me they figured it out. So, train wreck running at a train wreck. I'm going to take the Chiefs just because I think they have the most talented player in Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger.
Oh, I love that, Nick. I knew you'd come around on the Chiefs.
Yeah, PB was like, finally, he's going to say it now.
There we go.
Never going to be that.
No matter what you say, it's what you do, Nick.
So
the money's going on the Chiefs. So no matter what trash you talked about,
You're right.
You don't back it up.
We've
me
seen the Raiders do this the last 3 years where they start
Yep.
so well, 5-3 or 5-2, 6-3. Like they do this every year. And it comes down to it's Derek Carr. He's not a good quarterback, because if he was, and I understand the front office is not giving much help on defense. They overreach for draft picks every year, and they're not. That franchise is poorly ran, and it sucks. I mean, they signed Deshaun Jackson. What's the point of doing that at this point? I mean, he's the dude's 35. I mean, he's
all the Raiders care about is speed.
Yeah, I mean that's true. They did.
I don't think he's going to make a difference, though.
They did take Darius Hayward-Bay back in the day.
They're just gonna put Ruggs jersey on him and pretend it's Ruggs out there.
Yeah, I mean,
try to convince themselves.
Same package.
They didn't make another mistake.
give me Chiefs -2.5. It's Patrick Mahomes. I know they've looked bad, but I don't care. Raiders are worse. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'll say Josh Jacobs has looked better for the Raiders. That's kind of like one glimmer of hope for them, and that's pretty much it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Alex.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I'm going Chiefs -2.5 here. I know the Chiefs have been horrible at covering. What are they, 2-7 against the spread this year?
Yeah, they're like 5-19-1 in the last like 25 games.
So bad. But if I can get Mahomes under a field goal, I think they're good enough to cover a field goal against the Raiders team, who again outperforms in the first half of the season and then just shits the bed. So I'll go Chiefs -2.5 here.
And hang on before you go. This is actually like a must win for the Chiefs, because if they lose to the Raiders, they fall another game behind in the division, and they can't do that. So they have to win.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier in the show. Some of these teams that are gunning for the playoffs, like this week means a lot. So yeah, I like that point too, Corey. Sort of unrelated though, this week we were going to do our best bets and our hammer picks of the week. I think we all need to get one of those little green Dave Portnoy hammers so we could just sit here and hammer it out when we come across our lock for the week. But to me, this is my lock of the week. So
whoa, let's go, Nick. The dude talking so much trash about how broken this team is and how broken Mahomes is, and it's his lock of the week. What do you know?
And you know what? When we're doing our recap next week, Patrick,
Mhm.
we're not going to sit here and be glorifying the Chiefs for beating this just garbage dump of a Raiders team. Okay, it's just like not. I'm insulting them, just not that far. Like,
All right.
we're
Well,
bringing it back to earth here.
Nick, would you look at that? I'm gonna have to probably even double down on this bet because this was my lock of the week, and it's Chiefs, and it is Chiefs -2.5. I mean, even the dude that's doubting the Chiefs more than anyone I know is on them. Like, I feel like I have to maybe triple down, maybe.
If me and you agree,
The mortgage on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say put my whole mortgage on this.
Pretty good bet.
This is a bankroll type of game.
Like this, just like we've just reiterating, this is a must win for the Chiefs. Like this is when you start seeing the actual elite teams start separating from the frauds. So we kind of saw that. I've talked about the Panthers are early frauds. They're gone. Now you'll see
Panthers, Saints, that division's gonna sputter. Yep. Totally agree.
Yeah, well, we'll see if the Saints make the playoffs, Nick, because we have a little bit more hope than your tough AFC, you and the Colts. But yeah, this is when we'll start to see. I know I have the Broncos this week. That's because the Eagles aren't that great, but we'll eventually see the Broncos start to fade. And I'm trying to think of some of the other the Raiders. This is when they're like, it started with the Giants last week. It all started pretty much with
Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers is another one. You'll see the
fade.
Steelers start to fade. That's a good one this week. We were on the Lions. So yeah, this is when you'll start to see the actual elite team, such as the Chiefs, Nick. Again, glad we're in agreement this week, and start to separate themselves and at less than a field goal. I mean, even if Mahomes was playing as well as he was in his first 3 or 4 games this season, when he was still throwing for 400 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. If this game happened to be just earlier in the season, this would be like Chiefs minus. This would be like almost a touchdown, maybe more. It's just because you're getting them at their little
the lowest point of the season. Yeah,
their slump in the middle of the season,
Yeah.
but they're going to get over this. And yeah, I absolutely love this game. Lock of the week.
One more thing, just to kind of throw it out there. As a Colts fan, it'd probably be more beneficial if the Raiders did win this game, just because it just takes another win away from the Chiefs. But I'm still going to be taking Chiefs -2.5. But
honestly, I disagree. I disagree with that because that means that the Raiders' chances to make the playoffs drastically increase, and then you still have to beat out the Chiefs.
But the Colts played the Raiders this year, so
yeah. But the Raiders, what's the Raiders' record right now? 5-3,
5-4,
5-4.
They're 5-3.
Yeah, they're 5-3. So they beat the Chiefs. They're 6-3.
Yeah, well,
that wouldn't be good for the Colts.
No, because I still think they lose the games down the road. I think the Chiefs make the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know if they can catch the Chargers if the Chargers keep winning.
I was saying you'd probably rather, because the Chiefs are making playoffs regardless. Just
all right, move on.
Raiders beat down.
We don't need to spend
Final game of the week. Final game of the week here.
Yep, final game.
Night, Rams versus 49ers. I'll just
wait
go
for
ahead and
that
kick this one off.
Yep.
The line here is -3.5 Rams.
Yes.
I'm generally, actually pretty much all the time, someone who understands perspective, other people's perspectives on things. And, we've seen this 49ers team. I think this is a case where, you kind of look at, you need to search for something that changes your viewpoint, because this line doesn't make any sense. It's like,
I'll make it make sense
dinosaur,
in a little bit.
dinosaurs were discovered in 1819. George Washington died in 1799.
What?
Our first president didn't even know dinosaurs existed, and this line's sitting at -3.5. Like, my mind is blown right now. Like, how is, if I could have 2 locks of the week, like I'm going with the Rams.
Should have just made this your lock then.
No.
Instead, you had to take the Chiefs.
Okay, so I'm with Nick there. The line is ridiculously placed. It's a division game. The Rams looked terrible last week. They beat themselves. The Titans not win that game. The Rams beat themselves. Rams are still my favorite team to come out of the NFC for the Super Bowl. I still think Matthew Stafford is the MVP, one of the top MVP candidates for this year. Sean McVay, I would love to know his record off a loss. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty good. I'm taking the 49ers are horrible. They just got blown out by Colt McCoy and James Conner. I mean, I bet if you took a poll of 25 people and you said, what team does Colt McCoy play for? They'd be like, isn't he retired? I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think that the 49ers this is going to be Jimmy G's last week starting, because they're going to get absolutely demolished. And then we're going to see the emergency of Trey Lance come in the following week. But give me Rams minus.
I agree. I'll go knock PB because I think you're on the other side here. But I agree with the Rams -3.5. I think this is a bounce back game for them. I think Sean McVay's record is 40-0 when leading at half or something like that. Something crazy. Broke a record. So, and I think the Rams are going to come out fast after that stinker that they just played. So I'll take Rams -3.5.
Yeah, he actually just beat Bill Belichick's record, so he's 43-0 now.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
pretty nuts.
He's up at halftime. It's that Rams are one of my favorite teams to where you do those double result bets, where you put halftime Rams to win the full game, you get better odds. And if you like especially if you like the other team, because that's when you can just bet them to win both halves. Because if McVay is up at half, he just wins the game.
Yeah,
that's just what happens. And so, if this is actually, obviously my lock was the Chiefs, but I do like the 49ers +3.5 in this divisional game. This out of every game on the entire slate will 100% be the most this will have crazy amount of public money on it. Just everyone's looking at this line. This is that same game weeks back when it was Packers Bengals, and everyone was looking at it, and it was I think it was 3. It was 2.5 or 3, and everybody was on the Packers, and they didn't understand why or how. And because the Bengals were better than people thought. I do think this 49ers team is better than people do think. And Stafford is dealing with he hasn't been practicing. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury right now that he suffered at the end of last game. And I think that has to do with this line as well. And I really wish Trey Lance was playing. I like him so much better than Jimmy G. But yeah, Kittle's back. Ayuk is finally starting to play. I don't know why he was in the doghouse for so long. He's starting to get going. I think this is a good bet where you could do 49ers at double result to win a half and then win the game.
No. So the reason I
can't get
probably let me see what the odds on that are, because I know it's
when you're looking that up. I'll talk here. I think I just saw a record. The 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, his record as a head coach is one of the worst.
It's worse than Matt Nagy's.
Worse than Matt Nagy's, and I'm pretty sure it's the same as Chip Kelly's, if not worse.
That's not good company.
The only reason Kyle Shanahan still has his job is because of his name. That's the only reason. Well, yeah, and then they have the Trey Lance sitting there in their pocket. But give me Sean McVay over. He's such a better coach than Kyle Shanahan, and he has completely the much better team. And Sean McVay already came out saying that Matthew Stafford is completely fine. So if he doesn't practice this week, it's because they just want to make sure he's fully healthy. But he already said he's playing and he's going to be fine.
And it's every year. Like when you look at the records of teams at the end of years, like once it's really hard for teams to lose like what 1 or 2 games. Like usually, especially what is it like an 17 game or 8? I forget how many it is now, right? 17 games.
17.
17 now, yeah.
So like you're gonna see like 3-4 losses on teams' record, like the best teams. Like finish
sure.
with like, and you have to pick the spots. And who the Rams have lost to? The Titans. Who else did they lose to?
The Bucks.
Yeah.
No, they beat the Bucks.
No, they beat the Bucks. No.
Yeah, they beat the Bucks. I know that. Tom Brady again. That won't get into that. They beat the Bucks. Who the Cardinals? They lost. That's right.
Yeah.
They lost to the Cardinals and they've lost to the Titans.
Yeah.
You know, well, I don't know if you look at their schedule. That bet, by the way, it would be plus like 270 if you did the double result for 49ers. But like I don't know. You guys can try. I'm going to try to find the Rams schedule so I can try to point out like what games you think the Rams lose this year.
I just had it pulled up. But this is also a must win for the Rams if they want to win this division and take try to get that number 1 seed in that first round bye and home field advantage. So they're definitely gonna have to win this game, and I think they're definitely gonna do it easily. PB, this schedule for them, they got the 49ers this week. They have a tough
remaining schedule.
Yeah,
Packers, Jaguars, Cardinals, Seahawks, Vikings, Ravens, Rams. So this is a game where I think they're gonna lose one of those games that you've been talking about. But I just don't think this is it.
I just think some of these elite teams have been falling into these like mid-season slumps, and then some of the teams that have kind of been underperforming, such as the 49ers, kind of take a little bit of a leap. Like this, it's usually in the middle of the season these things happen, and then towards the end of the season you see the better teams like start to straighten out. And I think this is where the Rams are experiencing their midseason slump, and the Titans, and then this game, and then I think they can start bouncing back. But I don't know.
So we'll see.
I think this is.
I think they are
trap spot of the week.
Divisional game. I see what you're saying, but I like Corey's perspective. Like we never talk about coaching where he's like, this player is going to dominate. It's a lot of coaching, and McVay's pretty great. Shanahan's got the name. Maybe he's got a little bit more written up about a divisional opponent, but
I think that's what he like. It's the divisional opponents that he's better at playing against. Yeah. Like he's a lot more familiar with their, style of play, and I don't know. I think this is the trap game of the week.
Okay, going back to
how about their matchup though? Go ahead, Corey.
Going back to what you were saying about him playing better in divisions. He's played better because the 49ers have had such a better defense in years past. This defense is not the same that we've seen, and it showed last week. And you give me Cooper Kupp, Stafford, Woods, Henderson. I mean, this is the game this is my lock of the week, by the way. So.
Yeah, now that we're talking about it too, I think that the Rams front lines up perfectly to stop the 49ers in that run game. I mean, they're going to get Von Miller this week. I think it's a great match.
I think the pass game is come alive for with Ayuk, Kittle, and Debo. I don't the run game is important to the 49ers, but I think Jeff Wilson is back now. Like the 49ers are much healthier.
Well, we shall see.
We will see.
So in terms of locks of the week, it sounds like Nick and Patrick are both on the Chiefs -2.5.
Yes.
Corey, was this last game your lock? It's Rams -4.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go with, you're gonna like this one, Corey. Colts -10 is my lock of the week. The Jaguars are the Jaguars, so I will take anyone against them as a lock and be totally okay if it doesn't hit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode. We will see you tomorrow for the Week 10 DFS show. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.